So is it true that you can actually win the Champions League with this team and they're not in Europe? And you've done it.
I know for a fact that this is a thing that you can do in Football Manager.
That might be the coolest thing I've ever heard. Ever.
If you could take on this challenge, I think you can do anything.
Anything? Can I regrow my hairline, perhaps?
Hey, I think you'd have a better chance of that than I would.
You heard it. You heard him say it. We're giving you a lot of great advice in this video, but I have another tidbit of advice on how to just be better on the internet, and that's the longtime sponsor of this channel, NordVPN. I've got a way to save you an absurd amount of money while getting NordVPN and learning to just be safer on the internet. If you haven't or seen one of these ads before on the channel, NordVPN is a virtual private network service. This allows you to route your internet traffic through a different point somewhere else in the world, making it much harder to interfere with. That's the safety concern. Then there's also the entertainment concern, where if you can watch a movie in one country but not in another, maybe you're traveling but you want to watch your favorite match, well, you can use NordVPN to get back to the country that you just came from. Like if you leave Great Britain and you go to the United States for holiday, assuming we're in a post-pandemic world where this sort of thing is possible, then you can NordVPN your way back to the United Kingdom to watch your favorite match. The click of a button, you just click a drop down and you say, I want to be in this country. I want to be tropical. I want to be freezing cold. Whatever you want, because the certain show that you like is on Netflix in that country. It's fantastic. And with code Zealand, you get 73% off on the holiday season deal. It's the holiday season.
And you get 1 month free.
So you get an awesome deal. That's two awesomes stacked on top of each other. 73% off, code Zealand. That's only $3.16 a month. If you fritter that away on useless things, and NordVPN is the exact opposite of that. Fabulous tool to keep you safe and allow you to, well, watch your favorite games and shows around the world without being too edgy about it. It's great. Now back to the save ideas that are also great. I love to find and talk to people that are more intelligent than myself, or, better at something than I am. And that's when I came across you, my good man, FM Llama. I was wandering the Andes in South America and just happened upon you, and you might have the best save ideas in Football Manager of anybody that I have ever met. And you have the best hair.
Well, the hair I will take. Best save ideas, you might be overstating it somewhat, but I definitely dabble.
Well, we have dabbled together and we have compiled a list of save ideas, one for each country in Europe, one great, authentic, different new save idea for each country in Europe. And we have picked, or should I say, I have picked, because you've actually already played the save, I have picked the most interesting save that we could find in all of Europe that you will be able to play. And are you ready?
I think I was probably born ready.
That's exactly what I love to hear, because we're going to need to move quickly. We're doing this in alphabetical order, and first is Austria. Now in Austria, we've gone for a sleeping giant save, which is more classic than some of the ones that we're going to be talking about. That's Rapid Vienna. What have you written down about Rapid Vienna for people that don't know how big they used to be?
Well, they did used to be huge. Not only were they the winners of the first Austrian Bundesliga title, they've actually won more Austrian Bundesligas than any other club. They've even won the German Bundesliga and German Cup as well. But they've not won an Austrian title since 2008. This is a team that have been in 2 European finals. Bring this club back to glory.
I mean, the fact that they won a Bundesliga, not just an Austrian Bundesliga, but like the Bundesliga, I think is absolutely hilarious. Up Rapid Vienna. Next is Belarus, and for this save style, we have emulating Zealand. We've got Bate, and Bate aren't actually the best team in Belarus anymore. Their team got old. They've aged out of relevancy. They are the Barcelona of Belarus, which means this is going to be a little more interesting than just stomping the league like we were able to when we started there, because you have to, I mean, if you were managing Barcelona, you got to sell old players, you got to balance the books and try and find a way to stay at the top of the league.
It's a tough save. I mean, there's not a lot of money in this part of the world until you hit the Champions League, so tough ask.
Tough ask, and so is the next save. In Belgium, if you're in Belgium, our joint recommendation is Union Saint-Gilloise. How did I do?
I think that's a brave effort. Doubly difficult because Dutch people or Dutch speakers will tell you did that wrong in their language. French speakers will tell you that you did it wrong in theirs. I've been criticised for my pronunciation of that one.
But why? This was one that you came up with. Union Saint-Gilloise. Why is this the save we should do in Belgium?
Really interesting club. One of the biggest clubs in Belgium up until about the 1930s. Rivals with Anderlecht, 11 league titles, plummeted down the leagues, been away for 48 years, first season back in the top flight, tied in with Brighton's owner, who also owns Union, and they're going really well in real life during their first season back. Would be great to take on Bruges and Anderlecht with this former giant.
So just trying to win your 12th title is Belgium.
Imagine the 12th.
Oh, brilliant. Who do we have next? It's Bulgaria?
Okay, so you got to go with me on this, but maybe you fancy a little save where it's not all about the club, but it's about developing a particular player. Why don't we head to Levski Sofia, big club in Bulgaria. They have a goalkeeper that used to play for them called Dimitar Ivankov, the top scoring goalkeeper in Europe. He retired in 2012. He clocked out with 42 goals in total. He was a great set-piece taker. Could you take charge of Levski and develop a goalkeeper that scores more than 42 goals in a career?
And now that they're going to get marked on corners after one of the most recent updates, it's going to be a lot harder. Penalties and free kicks, allegedly. But what we've learned, there was a goalkeeper in Paraguay, was it, that scored over 100. So this is just the European record for goals by a goalkeeper is 42. And if you go to the same club, Levski Sofia, you're trying to score as many goals as possible with a goalkeeper. That's your save, and that's the goal in Bulgaria.
Hey, and if you can take on Jose Luis Chilavert and score more than a century of goals, good luck to you.
That's the guy. I couldn't freaking remember his name. So you've got the option to take over a club with excellent goal-scoring goalkeepers, but then we go to Croatia. That's next. This is a league that's very interesting. They've got Dinamo Zagreb, who I recommend to manage a lot, but that's not our recommendation here, is it?
Well, I mean, goal-scoring keepers will probably sound pretty ordinary compared to what you've come up with in Croatia.
Look, there's a locomotive in Croatia, which you might notice if you play a lot of Football Manager, if you watch a lot of the European game, there are a lot of locomotives, and there are a lot of other clubs that were founded that I didn't know about, that you knew about, that were founded by railroad workers. And so what you can do is start in Croatia's Lokomotiv Zagreb and then use that as a launching point for a journeyman to the different clubs started by railway workers. And this isn't even just in Europe. You've got Lokomotiv Moscow, Lokomotiv Plovdiv, you have Cluj in Romania that was started by railway workers. You have Demirspor in Turkey, Albacete, Peñarol, Rosario Central if you want to take it to South America. Look, the save just has to start in Europe. I don't want to hear the sass, okay? There's a lot of railway worker clubs, and trying to lead them all to a title would be a completely unique idea for a journeyman. In the Czech Republic, we put our heads together. This was one of the last ones that we came up with, but we noticed there are a lot of teams in Prague, Llama, and that gives you an opportunity in your save.
Well, absolutely. So you've got your big two Prague clubs. You've got Sparta Prague. You've got Slavia Prague. They've won a lot of Czech titles. You've got two other clubs in Prague as well. You've got Bohemians. You've also got Dukla Prague, who are in the second tier. They won the Yugoslavian title plenty of times, 11 in total, have never won the Czech top division since that league started. Get them promoted, win the league, take on Europe.
Bohemians is the one with training wheels on because you're already in the top flight, and then Dukla Prague is the all the way. Take Prague back for the team that used to dominate the Yugoslavian league.
It's Czechoslovakia, Zealand. Czechoslovakia.
In Denmark, and this probably makes sense, Denmark's next, we have a player development save for you. And that's because there's a very interesting club in Denmark called FC Nordsjælland. And FC Nordsjælland, as you may have noticed, that there's a couple of African players that have come from Nordsjælland over the past couple of years. But there's actually a reason for that, and it could lend itself to a really wonderful save.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they're actually an affiliate club of Nordsjælland in the database. It's called the Right to Dream Academy. Based in Ghana, they're an academy set up by a former Manchester United coach aiming to develop the best of West African talent, and Nordsjælland is the European destination where the best of these players all end up. Nordjylland have got one Danish title all the way back in 2012, I think. How about trying to win another Danish title, developing some of the best West African players as you go?
Which is interesting. And then speaking of, it's particularly interesting to me, there was a kid on my college soccer team, or my college team, who went through the Right to Dream Academy. And then when he graduated from the Right to Dream Academy, he came over and played at Virginia, and now he's in the MLS. His name's Edward Opoku. And I'd never heard of the Right to Dream Academy until that. So this save is particularly cool to me. But next up is England, alphabetically.
Well, yeah, I mean, we talked about England for a long time because we were full of ideas for England.
We were.
But then you had one that I really liked, didn't you?
We combined, we had two ideas. You had one where it was this excellent simulate forward 100 years and then take over the team at the bottom of the Premier League team that has dropped as low as possible. And then I was talking about, well, we can do that in real life. Let's just grab Portsmouth or Blackburn and try and get them back up to the Premier League. So our compromise was, because also simulating 100 years would take a very long time, holiday 25 years. That's really where we decided was perfect, because you've turned all the players over and there should be significant change. Holiday 25 years into the future and find the team that is currently in the Premier League that has fallen the lowest. If there's a tie, then you get free choice, right? If a couple of teams are in League One, you get to pick one of them. And then you try and get that team back up to the top. I think it's a really unique challenge, and given there are so many played out challenges in England already, I think it's something that could really challenge a lot of people.
Absolutely, could be a huge save, as could the next one. You said to me off camera that you're starting to feel quite Christmassy, so how about a club from Lapland?
Yes, Santa's home province in Finland.
He's a season ticket holder.
Here's my question. Do they have a section for all the reindeer at ROPS games? I don't know. The name of the club is Rovaniemi Palloseura. And you know I'm a big fan of geography. Rovaniemi Palloseura is the biggest club in Lapland. The former Finnish Cup winners, they had a match fixing scandal. And they are just starting to get back in relevant. They start the season in the second tier. It's a perfect fallen giant with the added bonus of a location.
Absolutely huge.
Love that. Then France, this is a classic save, but it's one I couldn't possibly turn down. You wrote it down on the list, and I was like, yep.
I mean, France, I could have given you 10, 20 great saves in France. What about one that's a bit more of a challenge? You could take charge of Paris FC in the second division, try and topple PSG. The twist, you develop a squad of players all born in Paris and the surrounding areas. That's a tough challenge.
That's the extra. You want to make Football Manager particularly hard, that's turning the difficulty up to very high if you're trying to win with players from just around Paris, which honestly, given the talent level, you probably would be able to do.
So Germany, I think, is another league where we could have come up with maybe 10 different save ideas. You got your geography head on again, though, didn't you?
We did come up with 10 different save ideas. For those that were curious, we actually sat down in a call, and Llama had written down some ideas in a document. We went down and went through each one and decided which ones we wanted to keep, which ones we wanted to change, and just kicked around ideas for a couple of hours. Germany was left blank, and so we've gone with Union Berlin. So if you didn't know this, since the reunification of Germany, an East German team has actually never won the Bundesliga. Leipzig is there, so the added twist is that if you manage Union Berlin, which is the other East German team in the Bundesliga right now, you have to win the league before Leipzig does, which honestly can happen pretty quickly in Football Manager. You have to become the first East German club to win the Bundesliga as Union Berlin. And the reason we picked Union Berlin is they're a really lovable club. Right, like they're just so, well, just lovable.
Yeah, they've got that fan base. They're a real community club. The fans helped renovate the stadium. Huge on Derby Day as well. Great club.
Yeah, because they play against Hertha Berlin, which was from the western side of Berlin, but Union Berlin's from the eastern side of Berlin. Just a little bit of a rivalry. And after Germany is Greece, where we have a unique opportunity. I'd never even heard of this type of save before. Genius idea that you had starting at OFI.
Well, absolutely. So OFI, for people that don't know, are a club that are based on the island of Crete. What a great place to start a European island journeyman. Taking in clubs like Tenerife, Mallorca, maybe you head out to Portugal, maybe you're heading out to Maritimo on Madeira. You've even got island teams in countries like Finland that you could take charge of. Maybe you're getting out to the Italian league, to Sicily for Palermo. Maybe it's France and you're on Corsica for Bastia. A European island journeyman starting on Crete.
You just can't manage you can't manage a team on mainland Europe. That'd be a lot of fun trying to win as many island titles. Hold on to that idea for later. After that, we had Hungary, which we found Puskas Akademika. If you didn't know, that's the Ferenc Puskas Academy. It's funded by the Prime Minister. Apparently, this is a controversial topic in Hungary, but you start as the Academy player and sign and develop Hungarian talents under the flag of Hungary's greatest ever player. So that's a fun save. But next up is Iceland. In Iceland, we had a debate. Because I put my geography hat on all the time.
You love Iceland, don't you? Let's be honest. You've got a soft spot for Iceland.
I do. I have a soft spot for Iceland, but you went on your honeymoon there, so it's not like, both of us.
Yeah, but you got very possessive about Iceland, didn't you? It was like a little baby to you. And you want to go extreme in Iceland as well, don't you? You're not sticking down in the southeast.
No. I've been, for those that don't know, I've been to Iceland 3 times, three separate times. It's a great place to stop over on the way to Europe and spend a couple of days, and I've always really liked it. Interesting country, but the vast majority of the people and the clubs live in, let's pull up a little image of Iceland, right? And the vast majority of the people in the clubs live in the southwest. That's where Reykjavik is, that's where Keflavik is, that's where Kópavogur is. These are the biggest cities in Iceland. Well, there is a club that is in the north, which, nice. It's a little colder. It's in the direct north of Iceland. It's called KA. I'm not going to try and actually say the name of the club. You
go
can
on,
try
give it a go. Give it a go.
Give it a go. Hold on, I got Nutspear fun. No, I was just testing.
Commit to it.
That was a test. I was just making sure my reflexes were ready. Nutspear Akareer.
I tell you what, if that was not correct, the mayor should change the name. Let's just go with that from now on.
Let's just go with that. That works for me. Anyways, you can see where they are. They're way up in the north of Iceland. Try and drive every other southwestern team crazy because they have to keep traveling up there because you're the best team in Iceland. Ireland, take it away, man. Ireland.
Oh, okay. Well, what a save idea this is. We could take charge of a club called Derry City, who compete in the League of Ireland, but are actually from over the border in Northern Ireland. They have won the Irish League title before. Maybe you could win the Irish League title again with Derry City before starting a UK journeyman, winning leagues with clubs that are not actually from that country. So maybe you hit Cardiff, Swansea, Wrexham, Newport, try and win the English League. Maybe you hit Total Network Solutions or TNS, a team based in England, but you could win the Welsh title. Maybe you head up to Berwick Rangers in Scotland. Bit of a tough task this time. Win the Scottish title with a team that are geographically based in England. Zealand, tell me you don't love a geographic save.
I love a geographic save. Fun fact, I've actually managed 2 of the teams that you've listed. I have managed Cardiff in a journeyman in 2017, and in the same journeyman, I managed Derry City. So I was accidentally doing this save already, and I had a really good time with Derry City. We got to the Champions League playoff. We didn't get to the group stage. We were 1 match away. It hurt so much.
And that brings us to Israel, another save idea that you came up with. In fact, you used your contacts for this one.
I did. For those who don't know, Eyal is from Israel. He's one of the editors on the channel, and he is the lead mod on the Twitch streams. Lovely guy. If you haven't watched the streams, the link is down in the description. Ha! That was so not smooth. Anyways, I asked him for really interesting saves. We had a couple of ideas, but I thought the best one that we could do is there is one Arab-Israeli club in the top flight of the Israeli league. They've got the only Palestinian player in the entire league. The club is called Bnei Saknin. And if you are able to win the Israeli league and carry that Israeli flag forward with the Arab-Israeli club Bnei Sakhnin, the save I've called it is just bring the country together. Right now, I look, I'm not wading into the politics of all of it. I just personally think it would be very fun to play as the Arab-Israeli club in the Israeli league and try and find a way to win the league, to carry that torch forward into Europe and just see how far you could take Ehud Bnei Sakhnin. It's a different bent on types of saves we've been talking about, because it's not necessarily geography as much as like a cultural save.
Fabulous. I mean, another great geography save, I think, is Italy. Only 3 Scudettos have been won by clubs from the south of Rome. 2 of those were with Naples. The other one was with Cagliari. And you've got an idea for potentially a save focusing on clubs from the south of Italy.
If you don't know, and this is something that I learned when I went to Italy, is that Italy is actually formatted very similar to the United States. The wealthy, larger cities are generally in the north, and in the south, it's more of like the boondocks and stuff. And that's reflected in the clubs as well. So winning Serie A, winning a Serie A title with team, not just like a team south of Rome essentially is the dividing line, but doing it with a team of players composed entirely from the south of Italy. Like every single player on your team has to be born south of Rome. So it's the revenge of southern Italy.
You cannot do that save with just one monitor. You need the game on one monitor and you need Google Maps on the other, because every time you're signing a player, you've got to check the town of their birth.
Okay, well, you're drawing latitude lines. It would work, though. It'd be fun. Now we get to the one that I think was the hardest for us to come up with something. And that is the new team, the new league in the game, which is Latvia.
Oh, absolutely. You say the hardest. I think we've got a choice of 7 teams to go with. So that simplified things a little bit. How about this for a challenge, Zealand? Tell me what you think of this. Take over Spartak Jumala. Start of a journeyman career. You were talking earlier about railway workers. What about a journeyman taking in all the teams that are named after Spartacus? Come on, how many can you think of?
You have Spartak Moscow, and
that's your holy grail right there, isn't it?
Yeah, we've already talked about Sparta Prague.
There you go.
And
Sparta Rotterdam.
There we go. Okay, Sparta Rotterdam.
Taking on Feyenoord with Sparta Rotterdam. What about Spartak Subotica in Serbia? How about you even drop down to the Vanarama North and take Blythe Spartans to glory? What a journeyman that would be.
So I guess it's either Spartacus or the city of Sparta. You get the idea, though.
But is that the best journeyman that we can come up with? What about if we hit Northern Ireland? Come on, give me another journeyman idea.
So Northern Ireland gives you a great opportunity, because I consider it the most vanilla small league in the UK. But if you start in Northern Ireland, you have a very natural progression up through Northern Ireland, then Wales, then Scotland, then England to try and win all 4 UK leagues. If you've never tried to do this before, it is absolutely a tremendously fun time. It's also a less difficult version of the trying to win the different UK leagues with teams that are not necessarily in the nation whose league they're playing in. This is a much more straightforward climb up from bottom to top, starting with Northern Ireland, going through Wales, Scotland, and then England. Just a nice, comfortable, classic, straightforward goal journeyman that can start with any team in the North Irish top flight. Then we go to the Netherlands, and I feel like we've already talked about a couple of Dutch teams because of different journeyman saves, but the Netherlands has a very interesting distinction for lovers of random facts, and that is that opposite of Guatemala, I believe it is, which is the shortest country in the world, the Netherlands is the tallest country in the world, Llama.
Absolutely. So you're gonna have to give me a bit of a leap of imagination here, but you want to set yourself a challenge, something a little bit different. Take control of a Dutch club. The Netherlands, the tallest nation by average height on the planet. See if you can win the Dutch Eredivisie with a team exclusively of players 6'4" tall or taller.
And for those that do not know, 6'4" inches.
Oh, sorry, you're going to have to metric me here.
1.9 meters and just a shade under 6'4", and win the league. And then send me a picture of that, because that would be a really fun accomplishment.
Now, look, when we were going through ideas for saves, your little heart sang for this next one, didn't it? Bodo Glimt in Norway.
I didn't know this. In Norway, Bodo Glimt became the first club from inside the Arctic Circle to win a European league, winning in 2020 and in 2021 in Norway. So can you win the Arctic Circle's first European honor? The first for a team inside the Arctic Circle. How did I not know that they were the first European team to win a league from inside the Arctic Circle?
Maybe you had a brain freeze.
Next!
What about we head over to Poland next? No team from Poland has won a European title, even though this club, Górnik Zabrze, have made it to a European final. Come on, tell us their story.
Górnik is a team that you pointed out. They made a European Cup Winners' Cup final, but they lost to Manchester City in 1970. That is the closest Poland's ever gotten to a European trophy. And then Górnik Zabrze has not won the Polish league title since 1988. So since no club from Poland has still ever won a European trophy, Górnik Zabrze can return from the ashes and finish what they started in 1970. And honestly, you'll probably get to play Man City in the Champions League final again. So go try and beat them this time in a European final 60 years on from when they first lost it. It's perfect symmetry.
Talking about rivalries, you and I developed a little one over Portugal, didn't we? Because
we did.
I wanted to go to one island, you wanted to go to the other. What about taking one of the island teams from Portugal to their first ever Portuguese title? Now, I was thinking of heading out to the Azores, where you'll find Santa Clara in the top flight, and trying to take the title all the way back out into the Atlantic Ocean. You liked the idea of Madeira, didn't you?
So what we ended up settling on was what we called an island takeover. This is different from the whole Greek thing, is that we're not trying to bounce away from Portugal. The save we recommend in Portugal is that you start with either Marítimo or Nacional, which is Ronaldo's club, or Santa Clara, and you try to win the Portuguese league with all three of them. You try and create island dominance. You win the Portuguese league with one, then you win the Portuguese league with the next one, and then you can go to Nacional and try and make it a club that's worthy of Cristiano Ronaldo. You can work that fact in however you want, but Ronaldo did play at Nacional, so either start with them and just play with Nacional and try and make Ronaldo's club good enough to get him back or something like that, or you bounce between all three and you win the Portuguese league with all three island teams that are reasonably within striking distance of that title. Now, Nacional is actually in the second division. They just got relegated, but it's an opportunity. And having played in Portugal, these three teams are all definitely capable already. And I had no idea. If you don't know where these clubs are, they're very far away from Portugal. Nacional and Marítimo are both closer to Africa than they are to Portugal. And it feels like Santa Clara is closer to the United States than it is to Portugal.
Yeah, you're halfway on your way to Bermuda. Let's go right in the other direction now, because
Right.
Romania, you told me a fact for Romania that I did not know, and this one surprised me.
I would be surprised if you actually had never heard it before, because you are a man of much knowing. But this is one of my few full contributions to this list that wasn't just tweaking an idea that you already had, which is that Romania had a Champions League winner. They have a Champions League winner, and there are only 3 teams not from the top 7 leagues that have won a Champions League ever. Celtic from Scotland, Red Star from what at the time was Yugoslavia, and then Romania's Steaua Bucharest. That's it, 3 teams. Every other team that's won the Champions League or the top continental club trophy in Europe has been from the same 7 leagues. That's Portugal and the Netherlands on top of your classic 5. So Steaua Bucharest is a very rare club in very rare company. And unlike Red Star and Celtic, they're not necessarily at the top of their league anymore. They haven't won the league in 6 years. So can you turn it around?
That's a great save idea. Where are we going next?
Oh, well, Russia. We're going to Russia.
Oh, love it in Russia.
Yeah, we had an idea in the Czech Republic, which was trying to bring the old Sparta clubs, the forgotten, well, not Sparta clubs, Prague clubs. Oh, nice. I'm thinking of Spartacus. What we have now in Russia is a great amount of parity. And this is something I've always loved the Russian league for. And that parity takes over in the city of Moscow. And what we are asking you to do is to be an agent of that parity.
Yeah, I mean, Moscow, we know, have got the big 5 clubs. You've got your Spartak, your CSKA, your Dinamo, you've got your Lokomotiv, you've got Torpedo Moscow as well. How about this for a challenge? Can you win the Russian league title in a Russian journeyman career with all 5 of Moscow's big clubs? Imagine that.
Oh, if you pull that off, that is absolutely, that's tremendous. That's very difficult. The rules in Russia are very difficult to manage there before Rubin Kazan, and it's hard to balance your squad outright. If you can actually pull that off and just bring the glory to every corner of Moscow, I would give you so much praise. It's not even funny. I'd bend over backwards to give you the appropriate amount of praise. The same for the next one, because we have an idea in Scotland where you kick around ideas about what to do in Scotland. You have the old firm, you've got Rangers, you've got Celtic, and then you have everybody else. What if you took one of those teams from everybody else and just became more Scottish than the old firm, and you did it with an all-Scottish team, Llama?
Oh, yeah, but that's going to be a huge challenge, isn't it? Because Rangers and Celtic have got such massive stadiums. They're so well resourced. They're going to be regular competitors in the Champions League. It's already a battle to overhaul those 2 clubs. Imagine trying to do it with the stipulation you only sign Scottish players as well.
Oh,
that's got to be a long-term project.
It's going to be a long-term project, and you're going to be hoping for some Andy Robertsons coming through. And that's not the only duopoly that we're trying to defeat. We have a very similar idea for Serbia.
Yeah, I mean, so we know the big 2 in Serbia are, of course, Red Star and Partizan. In fact, since the formation of the Serbian League, there's only been 1 league title that hasn't gone to one of those 2 giants. But you had an idea, or maybe a little bit of a twist on a save, taking on those big 2.
Yeah, well, Vojvodina, they've won 2 Yugoslav leagues back in the day. If you play Football Manager a lot, you're probably familiar with them. They have very good youth facilities. They're a good club, and they're the team that I would nominate as, they're former title winners from back in the old era. Can you elevate them to be Serbia's 3rd powerhouse? And kind of what we tried to do in Portugal on my save last year, which is, all right, hello, Porto and Benfica, we're here too. That's what you'll be trying to do with Vojvodina. Announce yourself to Red Star and Partizan and create Serbia's 3rd powerhouse, which honestly would push Serbia pretty far forward in the European rankings if you get that 3rd good team.
Right, Zealand, I think that gets us as far as Slovakia, and I've got another club in mind. What about FC Petra Schalke? Now, if you've not heard of the name, maybe you remember a club called Art Media Bratislava. Back in the noughties, they were winning 2 Slovakian titles. In fact, in 2008, they won a league and cup double. They were the first Slovakian team to reach the group stages of the Champions League, but their financial backers left. The club changed its name from Art Media to FC Petra Schalke. They now find themselves languishing in the 2nd tier of Slovakian football. The challenge: get them back to the top flight, return them to winning titles, and see if you can get them into the group stage of the Champions League once more.
But let's take it to Slovenia now. Slovenia's got a team in the top flight, and this was just me poking around on the league, on their Wikipedia actually, and then we confirmed it in the game and through their club website. There is a club called Aluminij that has a stadium that holds 600 fans. That's it. It holds 6. They're a top flight club in Slovenia. They hold 600 fans. It's unbelievable to me. You've got to try and turn that club into something great. NK Aluminij. You've got to turn them into something great. How can you not?
Absolutely. Now, you love those underdog saves. I quite like a historic club as well. You know, that club that used to be big, used to be really significant, and they've fallen on hard times. Come on, tell us about this Spanish.
While Aluminij was me Googling things, this is the type of save you love. I've got to give this one to you.
Well, yeah, so this is where I got a little bit misty-eyed. There's a club in Spain, and now in Spain, you can actually play from the 4th tier up. In that 4th tier, you will find a Basque club called Arenas Club, who were one of the founders of La Liga, and there's only about 10 founding clubs. They competed in La Liga for the first about 8-10 editions of La Liga. They've fallen down the leagues. They're a one-time winner of the Copa del Rey, founder member of La Liga, now in the 4th tier. Come on, taking them through all 4 divisions and then taking on Barcelona and Real Madrid once more. That's one for the romantics, isn't it?
I freaking love it. And then we have Sweden. I'm going to toss this one to you too. Just lay it up because you've got a hold of it.
You know when you're in the playground at school and there's the kid that doesn't get picked? There's a club from Gothenburg in Sweden called BK Häcken. Now, there's 4 big clubs from Gothenburg. The biggest, of course, is IFK Gothenburg. Many Allsvenskan titles. They've even won 2 European competitions. There's 2 other teams from Gothenburg that have won the Swedish title. Urgrita and GAIS have both won the Swedish title. BK Häcken, no Swedish titles for them. They're currently playing in the top flight. Take control of them. Don't leave them being the kid in the playground that did not get picked.
Don't. Michael Jordan didn't make his JV basketball team. You want to turn BK Häcken into Michael Jordan. They come back the next year, they make the varsity basketball team. You know, that's just...
There you go. There's your angle. Now, Switzerland, we moved on to an idea that we were both fond of because we like a youth development save, don't we?
Well, I mean, this is just this is a classic idea with a twist. So there's a team in Switzerland, if you didn't know, you probably know because they're in the Champions League, called Young Boys. So what better place to try and win the Champions League with the oldest player on your team being 23 and under? You need a U23 team and do it at Young Boys and win the Champions League with that team. They turn 23, that's their last season, you got to sell them afterwards. That is tough, but not as tough as you might think. I think you can definitely do this.
Not as tough, perhaps, as the challenge in Turkey. The club there are called Altın Ordu. This save idea is inspired by their real-life philosophy, where they're trying to compete in the Turkish top flight, only using players from Turkey. Turkey is a rich league. They attract a lot of global superstars to that league. Imagine trying to beat the big 3 from Istanbul with a squad that you've assembled that's domestic in nationality. Again, that is one I want to see people posting pictures of in your Discord.
It's the Bilbao of Turkey. I love it.
Okay, so when we're in Slovenia, you loved that idea of a club with a tiny stadium, but in Ukraine, you're going big this time.
We are. This is the other end of the spectrum. So one team, you have 600 people in your stadium, and you're trying to overcome that and win the title. In Ukraine, there is a team called Metalist Kharkiv. It's a Phoenix club, you said, and I think this stadium was built for the Euros, but it's a 40,000 seat stadium. The Metalist Kharkiv play in, and from all that we could find, they barely fill a quarter of it. So your goal is to get Metalist Kharkiv good enough to get them to a point where you sell out the stadium. Just one time. You just got to get to a point where you're playing like a home match in the Champions League knockouts, and you finally sell out the stadium. When you sell out the stadium, it's beautiful. You've completed the save. I love it.
Beautiful. And that, well, where better place to finish this little tour of duty than Wales?
Of course. And this is you because you found this team.
Yeah, I like a challenge that's pretty much impossible. Head down to Wales. Wales is not the most glamorous league as it is, but head down to the 2nd division, not the top. Swansea Uni, a team of amateur students. Can you take a team of amateurs into the group stages of a European competition? If you can, you're a better football manager than I.
And I. If there's no saves coming or editing involved, and in 2 years or 3 years, I think it would take, you can take an amateur team all the way to the group stage. I don't even know what I would do at that point. I honestly think I would just bow down to you, and that would be it. But there is one more save we're gonna mention. Okay, so you heard us talk about this at the beginning. We've done a save for every single country, but there is my favorite save that there is to play in all of Europe. And it turns out you'd actually done it before. It was an idea that we'd kicked around for Spain, but I think this is absolutely the coolest save that you can do in Europe. I really hope that I get to try it someday. I hope you guys can try it out as well as something that really interests you. You've done it before, Llama. You can win the Champions League with a club that is not physically in Europe. And I'm not talking about the Azores like an island. I'm talking on another continent.
Yeah, but let's be clear about this. I've tried it. I've not done it. This was too hard for me.
Okay.
Way too hard. But let's head back down to the Spanish 4th division. So you compete in Spain. Of course, you're eligible for European competition. But there are 2 teams in Spain's 4th tier that geographically are actually based on the north coast of Africa. You've got one team. It's spelled Ceuta. I think it's pronounced Ceuta. You've also got Melilla. Both of them border Morocco on the north coast of Africa, climb through the leagues in Spain, topple Madrid and Barcelona, win the Champions League with a club that's qualified through Spain but is based on the continent of Africa. Tell me there's a bigger challenge in Football Manager.
That's just brilliant. You're in Africa, you're winning, you're trying to win the Champions League. I can't win. It's a brilliant and tough challenge too. It's just so interesting. It holds your interest. Well, I mean, what are the youth intakes like at these clubs? Are you getting Moroccans?
Well, yeah, you're going to get players from both Africa and from Spain. But
Beautiful.
These youth intakes are not the strongest.
Well, at the beginning. Wait, once you're done with them, they're going to be better. It's an incredibly cool save. This was an incredibly fun video to make. Subscribe to FM Llama for being a Football Manager genius. And thank you for joining me today on this adventure. I've had a lot of fun.
Hey, any conversation with Zealand is an afternoon of laughs.
Oh, that was so nice. Same can be said for you. This was very fun. I feel like we had a nice flow going. I'll see you guys in another video, and if you want to subscribe to Zealand, you can too, because half of you don't. I'm watching you. Bye.